morning, welcome to RoadRunners. Today I'm bringing you a craft which follows on from the main service. If you've not seen the main service, click in it, watch it later, don't worry about that because the craft is self-explanatory. All you need is a piece of paper and some pens and some scissors. And then we have Nick bringing 3 questions that were sent in by 2 of you. If you remember sending your questions in, today is the day we get to see you. If you're not sure, you don't remember, it'll be a big surprise. So we are going to jump straight into our craft. Let's go. So the main church service today, we spoke a little bit about giving kindness forward, giving to others and treating others how we'd want to be treated. And so what we're going to do now is join in with them a little bit by making some paper chain people. So all you need to do is get a sheet of paper and fold it in half. I've got 2 sheets there. Fold it in half that way, so the long sides touch each other. Fold it in half that way, so the short sides touch each other. Then the trick is you open it out and fold that half in to the middle and that half into the middle. Fold it the other way, so you've now got the 2 flaps and the original fold the opposite way. So we went half in the middle, half in the middle, and back on itself. And then in order to make sure that your men are all roughly, or your people are all roughly the same, I'm actually going to make them gills because dresses are a lot easier to do. You do that, and sometimes it's useful to draw, so you draw in half a person. So I do half a head, and your hand, she's got extra long arms. Make these arms a bit better. There we go. That's a bit better. And now you literally just cut that up. This is the good thing about drawing on it. Just like you can see. Like that. So when we open it up, our little lady, actually as I keep opening, I'll end up with 2 sets of 4. And what I want you to do is, you now have 8 people. My wobbly head one there, ignore him. You can stick them together if you want to, make it a nice long paper trail. You don't have to. Just a little bit of glue there and you have a nice long one. Floppy head at the end. But I want you to think about 4 people or 8 people who you would really like to do something for. And then decorate them, draw them, decorate them. And then once you've decorated them, I want you to write on the back side. So I'm going to decorate the front, and then on the back side I'm going to write the things that I'm going to do for these people. And I'm going to stick it up somewhere to remind me to try and do these things. Make it achievable. So maybe for this person, bake a cake. Bake a cake. And I'm going to decorate these, and you will see my finished decorated ones in a minute.
Hello Roadrunners, good to be with you again. Still no haircut. We're continuing our series on questions, and we've had some from you this time. I'm most grateful to Miriam and Jonah Atkinson for giving me this week's tricky ones. I hesitate to claim that what I say is the right answer, but it is my opinion, and you'll have to make up your own mind as to whether you agree with me or not. So let's start with the first question from Jonah.
Did Noah live to be 950 years old.
Did Noah really live to be 950 years old? One might also ask whether the oldest man in the Bible, Methuselah, lived for 969 years. Now, I like maths, and when I first read these ages in the Bible, I thought I'd check the sums. Genesis chapter 5, verse 25 tells us that Noah's granddad, Methuselah, was 187 when he had his son Lamech. And Genesis chapter 5:28 tells us that Noah's dad Lamech was 182 when he had his son Noah. And then Genesis chapter 7 verse 6 tells us that Noah was 600 years old when the flood came. Here's the ark. Now, if you're quick with maths, you will notice that 600 plus 187 plus 182 equals 969. So what does that tell us? It tells us that poor old Methuselah, like nearly everyone else, died in the flood. Imagine how you must have felt when, having lived for 969 years, your grandson hops into the ark and leaves you behind to drown. But the numbers do add up. Still, aren't they a bit too big? The simple answer is that we don't know, and we have no way of finding out. But after the flood, the lifespan quickly reduced, with Moses only living to be 120. Some claim that as people became more sinful and did more wrong things, their lives became shorter. It may seem a bit of an excuse, but without evidence to the contrary, perhaps Noah did live to be 950. We can't be absolutely certain, but nor can we be absolutely certain that he didn't. Now it's time for questions 2 and 3 from Miriam.
How can I trust the Bible? And how can I know the Bible is true? Huh? Yo-yo cat?
Well, I'm going to take these in reverse order. So first, how can I know that the Bible is true? The question is really a generalised version of the age of Noah question. What about the rest of the Bible? Is the rest of it true? Well, from a factual standpoint, it contains a lot of history, especially in the New Testament, and the events it records can be corroborated, can be checked with other records of the time by other authors. It was a very significant time in history, the peak of the Roman Empire. Many of the authors weren't Christians. They had no reason to invent these stories. However, there are very few original manuscripts from near the time about the Romans. Just a handful of records about Julius Caesar and his murder and about the other emperors. Most records date from nearly 1,000 years later, and these are accepted as true records. But you can visit places where Paul went on his missionary journeys, with the buildings still there. I've been to Ephesus twice, and I've stood on the place where Paul preached to 3,000 people. And when it comes to original documents about the time of Christ and even Old Testament reading, there are nearly 25,000 manuscripts concerning them, like the Dead Sea Scrolls here. This is the great scroll of the whole of the book of Isaiah, written by 2 scribes with similar handwriting. And radiocarbon dating puts this as having been written 100 to 350 years before Jesus. And the contents of different versions of the same writings are practically identical word for word. These were records preserved by written and oral tradition and are incredibly consistent. So I think we can accept that the accounts in the Bible of events are true as any history. Now, people usually ask at this point, but what about where the Bible has contradictory words? Actually, I don't have a problem with differences of detail. The police are more convinced by slightly differing eyewitness accounts than of absolutely identical ones, which are more likely to have been made up. So you can know that the Bible is at least as true a record of events as any other history book. So finally, our third question, which is possibly the most important: how can I trust the Bible? This is not the same as how can I know that the Bible is true, although it may sound the same. The Bible is a most extraordinary thing. It consists of 66 separate books by many authors. Some writers have suggested that deciding which to include happened at a meeting in AD 325, but it took more than one meeting. It actually took until the 5th century, still over 1500 years ago. This is Martin Luther's Bible from 1545, and people are still translating the Bible into foreign languages so everyone can read it. A member of our church, Martin Quested, works for the company that does this. But for me, whether it includes the right books is less important than what happens when you read it. It's sometimes called God's living word because when you read it, it changes you. The same passage can say different things to you at different times. I've found that God sometimes leads me to a particular message to help me with a decision. And if I follow what it says, it gives me wise advice and I'm at peace with my conscience. I've found from experience that I can trust what is in the Bible as wise advice on how to live. So you can know that you can trust the Bible by the experience of reading it and living by its advice. Well, I hope you found my answers helpful, even if you disagree. Keep giving us questions. Bye.
Thank you for that, Nick. Some brilliant questions. Thank you, Miriam and Jonah, for them. And imagine being 181 and not having kids yet, or only just having kids. You've lived 181 years and you've not had kids. That's crazy. But really well answered, Nick, and really good, interesting thoughts about the Bible. I really like that. Really encouraged me this morning. We are going to head over to no one because right now is the time to remind you, you have until 2 o'clock today before signing in and joining us at the park. The link is in the description. If you haven't joined us already, click on that link, sign up. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be in the park together, running around, games, crafts, talks, all sorts of stuff. Actually, there's no crafts, but games and talks and races and all sorts going off. It'd be great to see as many of you as possible. Look forward to seeing you there. And then a reminder, we are also starting our family services very, very soon. If you don't like outdoors, if you feel like it's a bit cold, don't worry. We will be indoors for something cracking off very soon. Keep an eye on your emails. Tell your parents, check the emails, and they will be able to tell you when it's all happening. So, without any further ado, have a great lunch, and I hopefully will see most of you at 2 o'clock. I've missed seeing you. It's so nice to be back together again. So we will see you 2 o'clock around your green area, and we will have lots of fun. Look forward to seeing you there. Enjoy your lunch. God bless. Goodbye.